All right, let's go back to politics now. We've been following developments in Ekiti State following the violence there that followed the primary election. And we have our senior correspondent, Ayodele Ozugbakun, who has been speaking with members and governorship aspirants there to get perspectives as to what really happened. Ayodele, it's good to have you join us now. You are with governorship aspirant Opeyemi Bamidele. Let's get to know from other perspective what's going on.
Okay, you might still in our coverage of the Ekiti APC governorship primaries, the botched APC governorship primaries that I can talk now. I have a former member of the House of Representatives, a legal practitioner, that is Opeyemi Bamidele. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you.
You were one of the aspirants yesterday.
Yes, sir, I am.
I saw you were somewhere at the pavilion and at the session that the aspirant sat, and you were watching with rapt attention, and by 6:45 everything came to an end. And what do you make of the situation of yesterday?
Well, like you said, I'm one of the aspirants, and I was there at the stadium yesterday. When you saw me just watching the turn of events, all you could see, all you could watch was just the expression on my face. I really wish you could watch again what was going on my mind. It was a very sad day. It was a very sad moment because people could see what was going on the field yesterday. But I could see beyond that. What I could see, what pervaded my thoughts, was the kind of efforts we had put in to build this party. Right from our days in the Alliance for Democracy, when I was National Director of Publicity of the party, up onto the Action Congress of Nigeria, now APC. We had major disagreements in the past, you know. But I believe, and I thought most sincerely, that we had gone past this stage, you know. And I thought there had been some measure of reconciliation that should make it possible for everyone to work together. Secondly, I was feeling extremely sad yesterday because I thought that tragic development, you know, was such an aberration at a point that I personally had come to a conclusion that it's no longer about any individual. It's not about Ekiti State and her afflicted people.
What went wrong?
You know, obviously, I mean, people were not happy with a number of things yesterday, but a lot of these things that came to limelight yesterday had been on, and that was one of the reasons why I even thought, you know, some of the things that happened could have been premeditated. There had been a number of currents, you know, going on. Within APC, Ekiti State today, there are some people who feel as much as possible, you know, the ACN tendency, which is like the majority tendency within the APC, should not lose out, you know, I mean, to people who came from PDP to join the party. You know, whether they are right or wrong, that is their own position. And they are doing everything to defend, you know, that political hegemony. You know, you also have people who feel very strongly that it should be about a new person emerging, not any of the people who had been governors before. As far as I'm concerned, nothing automatically disqualifies somebody, be it Engineer Segun Oni or Dr. Kayode Fayemi. Nothing disqualifies any of them automatically just because they have been former governor. They have a right to aspire. You know, all of these things had been coming to play. And on the field yesterday, it was obvious that there were also sharp practices. But sharp practices which...
Right on the field?
Right on the field.
Did you get any report from your agents?
Well, from what my own agent told me, there were sharp practices, but the sharp practices were not even limited, you know, to a particular, I mean, to only one particular individual aspirant, you know. From what my own agent, I mean, spoke to me about yesterday, if I were to start mentioning, I will mention at least 4 aspirants, which I will not do.
To hotels? Did you count?
Oh, of course, I did not, and I could not have done that. Wait, this is an intention to serve my people, all right? After I had spent 11.5 years in the government of Lagos State, serving as special advisor and commissioner under 2 governors, with such a huge experience behind me, after I had gone to the National Assembly for 4 years, to have gotten all that experience in the legislative arm of government, after 11.5 years in the executive arm of government, and the judicial arm of government, I mean, where lawyers and judges do their own thing. I've been a solicitor and advocate of Nigeria for the past 27 years. So as far as I'm concerned, in all three arms of government, I mean, well equipped to provide leadership in Ekiti as governor. If that is my story, then why do I need to start taking people to camping delegates, spending money? It's service. If people don't think...
Did you bring in talks there yesterday to the venue? Did you bring in
talks?
Of
course I did not.
So
I don't have talks that I could have even brought.
Those people that actually went to the ballot box and that broke it?
Well, I believe now that is a matter for the law enforcement agencies, to deal with, to investigate. But what was obvious was that there was a breakdown of law and order. In the first instance, those people had no business being, within the arena. In the first instance, they were not men. They were neither delegates, nor leaders of the party who were yes, so the fact that they even found their way into the stadium itself was a problem on its own. And what is important is the fact that there's a need for everyone to go back to the drawing board. The leadership of the party also
just a few days
cannot
come up with a name.
In politics, 24 hours is a long time for things to change. It's all about mindset. The moment people come to a realization that this is no longer about any individual, it's about Ekiti State. It's about us coming back to government to help our people, and reshape, a lot of things to stabilize this policy, to grow this economy. The moment people come to that realization, it will be easier for this matter, to be dealt with.
Moving forward now, what's the way out of this logjam? Some people, I spoke with Dr. Kayode yesterday.
Okay.
He's saying that there's a process on ground. The process should be seen through. Some people are calling for fresh primaries, and some people are calling for just consensus between the aspirants, and you choose somebody. Before we can say the National Executive will talk, NWC will talk, what do you think is the way out? Well,
as far as I'm concerned, I think what happened yesterday too should be taken as a wake-up call for the leadership of the party. And when I say leadership, I mean it in the broad sense. Leadership of the party within the state, leadership of the party within the Southwest geopolitical zone, and leadership of the party at the national level. A lot of the national leaders, a lot of people within the national leadership of the party are also drawn from within the Southwest geopolitical zone. It's good that so far they had decided to stay aloof, and let us sort ourselves out. But it is obvious now that with 33, aspirants, most of them eminently qualified, gentlemen, you cannot just fold your hands and pretend that nothing is happening in Ekiti. It's a situation that calls for intervention. Ekiti situation in any way calls for serious intervention, because regardless of who emerges, all of us will still have to work together if we are going to take back this state, if we are going to take over government in this state. We had an opportunity, we mismanaged it, we lost it. And all of us must come back together again, to be able to regain control of government in this state. I'm worried because there's no time for all this. People are yearning for change. Our people are suffering. Well, as far as I'm concerned, there are three manners of choosing the party candidate as stipulated in the constitution of the party.
Okay.
One is through direct primaries, in which case every card-carrying member of the party will have to vote. Mm-hmm. The second one is the indirect primaries, which is the delegates election, which will mean going back, for a repeat of what happened yesterday minus the violence, and then the third one, stipulated in the constitution of the party, is by consensus.
Consensus?
Yes. But the only limitation to consensus is where you still have an aspirant, a registered aspirant, who is saying no, to that decision, then consensus will not work. But other than that, consensus is also one of the options stipulated by the constitution of the party. What is important is credibility. What's important is the integrity of the people that will take the decision. What is important is good intention. As far as I'm concerned, this is politics. There will be disagreements in politics. It's just that what happened yesterday could have been avoided. We must take desperation out of it. And I'll be honest with you, I am not laying the blame for what happened at the stadium yesterday at the door of any particular aspirant. But it was more because enough reconciliation had not been done. within or among the various stakeholders within the party. And that's something that will have to happen outside of us. And that's why I said the leadership of the party will have to step in. You know, I mean, anything short of that, it might be a highway to nowhere. If you take people back to that stadium for another round of primaries, you may as well get the same results, you know, that you got yesterday, you know, because all it will take is if other aspirants feel a particular person is going to win, you know, they will disrupt it. It might not even be the person who they thought was going to win yesterday. It might be someone else, you know, and others will come together and disrupt it.
All right.
But the leadership of the party must really wake up at this point and step in and know, like I said, that it's no longer about any individual or any particular aspirant, but about Ekiti people and the government.
Honorable Bamidele, I want to thank you for being our guest today, and over to you, Mike, in Lagos.
It's my pleasure.
All right, thank you very much, Ayo. We certainly will hope to get more reactions from members of the party across the state as regards the outcome of the primary election yesterday.